America!
What's going on,
Hey!
everybody? My name's Clay Johnson.
I'm Jeremy Davis with the fabulous Equinox Orchestra. We're here to happily introduce to you a very special person.
That's right. Remember the series we're in, Who is the Fabulous Equinox Orchestra? Each week we're coming to you with a new, interesting, fantastic musician, great characters of folks we get to introduce you to. So today is no exception. We get to introduce you to the one, the only, Greg Balut.
Welcome
right
to the
there.
stage, buddy. Welcome
There
to the
he
stage.
is. Check him
Thanks,
out.
guys.
Well, all our guys are ninjas, and again, Greg is no exception. He is a special guy, special friend, and amazing player. How you feeling, buddy?
Great, man. I'm doing great this morning. How you guys?
We're good. First thing we need to note is this mustache,
Which is a new development here.
which is
It is new.
classy, I have to say.
The quarantine
thank
done
you.
a weird thing to your face. Tell us what's going on.
That's for sure. Yeah, man. Well, first couple weeks went by, I didn't really feel like shaving. That turned into a month or two. It was like, and then it was showing up at these gigs with you guys and getting a little scraggly. Like, I got to do something about this. So
Yeah, I
looked
like
into it, man. Twirled it up.
the direction that I went is a little simpler, but yours is pretty sophisticated. I like it. I like it.
You're shaping it up nicely. It's going to be, I think, there's competitions for facial hair. Like you can enter into one of these.
Oh, that's the plan.
Yeah,
We're going around the ears. We're getting crazy.
Something
like
so obnoxious that you'll win a trophy.
That's right.
There it is.
So, ladies and gentlemen, he's our lead trumpet player, has been for many years, and he is fantastic. Greg, where are you coming to us live from?
I'm currently live from Mount Dora, Florida. Usually home base would be Jacksonville, but I'm staying with my dad and my sister, spending some family time.
Is that north or south of Jax?
That's south. It's about 2 hours south, just north of Orlando.
Mount Dora.
So you're getting to see your family.
Wait, is that like the highest point in Florida, Mount Dora? Is that what
I think it is, actually, yeah.
It's one of these kind of mounts.
That's
right.
right.
It's not much of a
Elevation,
mount.
25
Barely a hill here.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Well, Greg, we know a lot about your current life, but tell us a little bit about your childhood, where
Yeah,
you grew up,
where'd you grow up?
Yeah, all that kind of good stuff.
All right, I guess you could say I'm from New England. I was born in New Hampshire, so
Oh,
I kind of lived there for 4 or 5 years.
You said New England?
Yeah, man. My
Wow.
dad and the whole Balut family grew up there. So my grandma lives near Boston. She lives in Massachusetts, and my dad and everyone grew up there. So I kind of was up there for the first few years of my life, but then we moved down to Florida when I was 5 or so. So I've been here since.
Were you born in New Hampshire?
I was born at a wedding in New
Oh.
Jersey, funnily enough.
Elaborate on that, please.
There's quite a bit here. So
Was it your
basically,
parents' wedding? That'd be awesome. Was it your parents' wedding? You were born?
it was not. It was actually a wedding of one of my dad's close friends, Paul Gregory, which is how I got the name Greg.
Really?
I
And
remember you told me this story once. Tell it again.
yeah, man. And my mom, her water broke at the wedding, and I was like basically coming out already. They just barely got her to a hospital in New Jersey. But the story here of how that even happened in the first place is that was over 3 months before I was supposed to be born.
Oh,
So I came out super premature. I was only 2.5 pounds. I had a
Oh.
hole in my heart. It was like black and blue everywhere. My whole arm fit through my dad's wedding ring. So just like a super miracle that I'm even here today. And also that I'm a lot bigger than 2.5 pounds.
Oh my gosh.
Miracles upon miracles.
Miracles
man.
upon miracles.
That's
Yeah.
that's
So that was crazy.
So you don't have any heart issues today from that, do you?
No, man, it filled up. We could say you guys filled it.
God bless you, brother.
It's all filled up, so we're good.
That's
Man,
awesome.
That's really cool. So you came down to Florida, grew up down here.
Mhm.
At some point, you became interested in music. Well, what was that all about? How'd that
Yeah, so I always liked music. My dad had a drum set from his dad that was just around the house when I was growing up, so I'd always play that. And it got to the point that it moved from like a kid banging on stuff to actually like playing the songs and really enjoying stuff. So then I got to middle school and it was continue that, but there was something about the appeal of the trumpet, man. Something about it's only got 3 buttons. I could figure that out. So, and it was loud. I could be playing it in people's faces. I know Jeremy loves when I do that.
Oh yeah.
So, picked it up, man. Never looked back.
I remember, speaking of 3 buttons, our old band director used to say when we'd mess up something, he's like, "It's the bluey button, the bluey button." You remember that?
Oh,
Oh my goodness.
That's about it.
So you ended up like the rest of our friends at the University of North Florida, correct?
Yeah, I was there for quite a while. I moved up there 2011, and so I was at school there for 8 years. The first 6 of which was getting an undergrad in jazz studies and another undergrad in music technology. And then I got my master's in jazz composition there.
Wow.
Really, what is the music technologies all about?
Digital audio workstations, mixing media, setting up mics at live shows, like live sound, even creating your own synths and sound effects, doing trailers for movies, stuff like that.
So you're good at a lot more than we
I
realized.
had no
that
idea
you were
you
good
did.
at. You might end up.
I
with
don't
a
know if
big
I'd say I'm
job.
good at it.
Wow, that's really cool. So cool.
Well, so friends watching, it's important to note that there are trumpet players and they're lead trumpet players. It's a whole different animal if you don't know the difference. I mean, the lead trumpet player is a guy who's really setting articulation, styling for the band. The guys are the whole band kind of follows a couple of lead players. The lead trumpet is such a dominant voice in the band, and it's always those high notes. And usually those guys only do that, in my experience. I mean, that's not always the case, but a lot of lead guys are lead guys. That's what they live, breathe, sleep, eat. Rarely do they combine the solo, the ability to solo, to really work on that kind of stuff. And that, again, that's not always the case, but a lot of times it is. But Greg does both. So you seem to be a little more well-rounded when it comes to just the playing of the trumpet.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. I guess that stems from just getting that jazz studies degree in college. Early on, I remember in middle school band, we did like a scale together, concert A flat. And she was like, just go as high as you can. And I was like the last one still going with like a flute and a clarinet. So ever since then, I was like, all right, I'll look into the whole high note thing. But then going into college and a little bit before that, I was lucky to play with a lot of jazz players that used to play with Artie Shaw and stuff. And they were up in Cape Cod. So my grandma kind of pushed me into that, and they taught me all about improvisation and how to work a band and stuff.
Another thing that I've noticed about Greg is, because a lot of the lead players that we play with, just about every lead player has some experience, has some age on them, has some years.
Yeah,
has been doing this for a long time, and and that's why they've earned that position. Greg is, as you can tell, he's still a baby. He's still a little kid.
Mustache baby.
But he's still fantastic, and that means you got a long career.
Let me say something else about lead trumpet players.
Thank you, guys.
Lead trumpet players typically walk around with a huge chip on their shoulder.
I don't know if it's a chip. It's just like,
it's ready.
Cinder block, man.
Something. Yeah,
it's something.
It's an aggression.
Yeah.
It is an aggression, and you have to have the aggression. But you don't, because obviously you don't have any aggression.
He's got the physical aggression.
You don't have that yet.
Aggression.
Yeah.
Have the personality issues and quirks that go with it.
It's like, I can play this trumpet and blow your face off, or I can just hit you with my hand and knock your face off. Which would you rather me do?
That's great.
You know what I'm talking about. You know that
I know.
There.
Yeah.
It's one of those, and again, non big band musical people probably clearly have no idea what we're talking about, but it's a thing. And let me tell you, whether it's what's her name, Liesl?
Liesl, yeah.
Mention her because she's a ninja. She's awesome. She's a sweetheart. But she's with the Jazz Ambassadors, and she's got it too, man. It's like, it's just whoever's in that spot in the band has got to have that swagger and that fortitude and that ability to lead, or nobody will follow you, right?
That's right.
Absolutely, man. I think that stems from learning that you control the direction of a band a lot of the time. You and the drummer, probably 50% each of you. And I think having that weight of decision early on, a lot of people get power trips with that kind of thing or whatever. But, I find it way more important to sit back and listen for a while, see what the saxes are doing, especially rhythm section and drummer. If you don't have a good drummer, it's, what's the point?
Yeah, exactly. So, what's the point?
And we noticed that about you, and we've had conversations about you, Greg, about your ability to kind of listen to everybody and say, hey guys, what if we did this differently, or what if we all kind of shaped it in this way, and which decision do you want to make about how we're going to move as a band in this section? And
we very much appreciate
that. Means a lot. Yeah, it really does.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, I try really hard for that. Thank you.
So you've been on some. Do you remember your first job with us? Where it was?
Yeah, man. Some of the first work I did, I think, was just coming in, subbing like third trumpets here or there. But the biggest one when I came in to start playing lead for you guys was the trip we did up the East Coast all the way to Halifax, Nova Scotia.
Oh my gosh!
What
in the bus with the
wives and all the children,
all the children. Yeah, anyone that sees the live shows knows the line. Are we there yet?
That's true. Are we there yet? Well, that was a kind of a heavy, real first introduction, right?
Yeah, you're telling me, man. It was. I remember you guys sent out some of the charts ahead of time, and that was an especially cool gig for me because not only did we go up and we played shows, we played New York, which was my first time there. I got to see Niagara Falls, and we did a jazz festival when we got up there. But another half of the trip was like doing mission work and playing in churches and stuff.
Yeah.
And that's always been number one, my best thing for music, my favorite thing where I get the most reward out of it. And so to find you guys, who's such an incredible jazz group, commercial group, and then that's where your hearts are at and that's what you wanted to do. It was truly an incredible experience. That's why I knew I really wanted to do something special with you guys.
That's so awesome to hear. And we're thankful to have you. I remember we had another guy, Tommy Osborne, who we love, who's a great trumpet player, and he played with us for years. Ended up having some weird technical face issues, which happens apparently. Lips is whatever, and it just kind of opened the door for us to kind of we needed someone else that we could depend on, that we could call on for everything. And you've proven yourself over and over again. You make the band better when you're in the band. And, of course, there's been lots of crazy gigs. I know you were able to go to Israel with us, too.
Yeah, that was – man, it doesn't get better than that.
No, it's pretty remarkable. I'm actually – we're still heartbroken that we're not going to get to go next month. We're like a month out. We would be there now in a month. But we're just going to push it off. We're still going to go back. So I know there was lots of memories around that trip.
So what was something about the trip of Israel that, I think I know what was most meaningful to me over there, but what was it for you?
Yeah, obviously, man, the number one thing that was so special was I hadn't been baptized. Growing up, I was just about to get baptized, and then my mom had passed away right before I had the opportunity. And I feel like I kind of put it off for a long time since then, just didn't feel right. And now I know why, because then we went to Israel, which I almost didn't even make it on that trip. I had some other conflicts. I was able to go to that, and, we got to the Jordan River towards the end of the trip where Jesus, was baptized, and Clay was like, man, anyone wants to get baptized? I'm here for it. And I was sitting in the bus like, I think I need to do this. So it was such a special day, man. I got to give a testimony, and I think about it every day. It's truly changed my life.
Amen. Greg, based on your profession of faith, I baptize you in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Well, we had, for me, obviously, that was as a pastor and a minister as well, that was very meaningful to me because I had never visited the Holy Land. So it was the first experience for most of us, having never been there, to kind of just walk where Jesus walked and be where, be in the places where all these Old Testament stories and New Testament stories happened. And I don't have to tell you, but it was an emotional time for me as well. I'm sitting there in the water and I'm like, this is really cool. I'm in the Jordan River. I'm baptizing these people who want to be baptized. And Greg comes down and I baptize you. And then we get everybody up and everybody out. And everybody kind of starts kind of talking and looking around, and I turned around back toward the river, and I literally just collapsed. I couldn't even hold myself up. I was like, "This is overwhelming. This is really
Greg, it was the culmination of everything, all the money that was raised, all the people that went, all the people that gave, everything.
Right.
Like in that moment, we could see clearly, just a major high point of why we came, and that was so great to be able to share that with you.
Yeah, it was good.
Man, thank you guys, honestly. Thank you so much. I completely agree.
Of course.
We know you do a lot more than just play trumpet and live in jacks. What are some of the other hobbies?
Man, I got to say my biggest hobby outside of this is hockey. Growing up, my dad and everyone always loved it. And so he had me playing pretty much from the time I was born, as soon as I was, big enough to do so. And I probably played for 10 years or so, which, they do have some ice hockey in Florida, you believe it or not. I think I found the one rink they had.
The only thing I know about ice hockey is a Zamboni that you drive around to.
That's a good one.
That's all we know. Actually, West Monroe had a minor league hockey team called the Monroe Moccasins, and it was just like a little bit of sport between fights, and it was so amazing.
So you played a lot?
I played. I started as a right wing for probably 3 or 4 years, but then I switched to a goalie, and that was the main thing I did. And man, I was super flexible as a kid, and I could bend all kinds of ways, and so I loved it, man. I still have my goalie helmet. I keep it in my office back in Jacksonville. And man, hockey is just a close sport to my heart. I follow it closely, like it a lot.
Wear your hockey mask around at Halloween,
you know it, man. Well, first thing out of the shower, throw on the hockey mask.
You dry off, put on your makeup and your hockey mask, and move along. So I know we
practice lead just to get that chip on my shoulder.
Yes. Well, I know we also share a passion for cars as well.
Yeah, man. I love cars, and I've always been watching car shows, how to build stuff. Hopefully I'll be able to build either a car or motorcycle sometime in the near future. You know, I was fortunate a few years ago to get my current car I have, which is a Dodge Challenger 2015 SRT 392.
Oh, wow.
And it basically, man, it guzzles gas, but it's fun to drive around. And ever since then, it's really fueled the passion.
That's cool.
That's so cool, man. Well, so in light of the past few months, just kind of as we bring this to a close, what have you learned over the past 3 months of this COVID crisis, and maybe even in the midst of this social crisis that we're in? Any lessons learned, and anything that you've noticed that you've gotten out of the past this weird season that we're in?
Yeah, man, it's been a lot. Everyone I've talked to has taken this time to just sort of shell up and reflect on themselves. And I think that's such an important part of culture and society these days, is everyone's so quick to point fingers or to covet things other people have, et cetera. But everyone I've talked to took it hard at first and then thought about it, and they've realized, you know, musicians are sharing creativity more than ever. And people are being kinder more than ever, because that's what we need right now. You know, everyone is like forced to make those decisions and realize what's truly important. So, and I've been spending time with my family the whole time. Like, I just think that it's been really hard, and there's been a lot of hardships through all of it. But I think if everyone just, you know, hangs on to the stuff that matters, personal relationships and things like that, and, you know, I think we'll get through it.
Yeah.
Amen, brother. That's a good word.
Very cool. Good word. A good word to end this session with. Y'all, ladies and gentlemen, this is Greg Balut right here.
Love this guy.
Fantastic trumpet player.
God bless you, buddy.
You're responsible for
Thank you, guys.
% of Jeremy's hearing loss, but that's okay.
That's okay. I hear it. I think it'll get better. I think it'll get better.
Man.
All right, buddy. Thank you, my friend. God bless you.
Thanks, guys.
Bye. Bye-bye.